Today, we're going to be checking out the Origin Effects Revival Drive Compact Hot Rod. Origin Effects is a high-end effects company based out of the UK. I've seen a lot of their stuff around. I've never actually been able to try it out before, so I was excited to get this opportunity. They've always looked really cool and like they had a lot going on for them. I gotta say, just holding the pedal, it's very heavy. It's very tactile. It just has this wonderful brushed metal feel. Even the knobs are like aluminum knobs. Everything on it just feels super chunky and well made. So this thing, even though it's, a smaller compact version, definitely has a lot going on for it. There's a lot inside of this little box. So we're going to start off with some of the basic controls and then move on to some of the things that make this more unique and able to really be dialed in for a lot of different sounds to a lot of different amplifiers. If your volume control, your high, your lows, those are pretty self-explanatory. More volume, more high, more, bass, less bass. Your gain control, which of course, more distortion, less distortion. You have a dry wet blend, so you can go 100% dry all the way to 100% wet, which is definitely cool if you're trying to get some more of those, maybe clone type tones or just edge of breakup style stuff. Really gives you a lot more options, maybe even on bass if you wanted to try that. But then it starts to get a lot more interesting with the presence control and some of the other controls. So the presence control, it acts like a presence control in an amplifier. You're going to get more top end, kind of more upper end sizzle. You'll notice more saturation in the top end, but then you'll also notice that this thing says more when you go counterclockwise. And what the more is how to explain it. It affects kind of how fast the pedal breaks up. So you'll definitely be able to hear. It's more of a feel thing too, that it'll get more distorted kind of more quickly, or at least more saturated more quickly. The more you push it to the more side counterclockwise. And then you have this switch that goes from Preamp, EQ1, and EQ2. And now this is what really started to set this thing apart from other, overdrives and distortions for me. Preamp does exactly what it says. It turns this thing from a distortion into an actual preamplifier. So you can run this into like a power amp or directly into a board or something with like IRs and get a great amp sound. And then if you do EQ1, that's better on brighter channels of an amplifier. Like if you're going into a really bright amp, something like maybe like a plexi or something like that, that's what that would be really good on. And then if you're going into a darker amp, that's what EQ2 is for. And to top it off, it's not just tailored EQs to allow this to dial into more amplifiers. You also have a post EQ adjustment that allows you, the more you turn it counterclockwise, the more highs you have, the less low end. And of course, the more clockwise you go, the less high end, the more low end. So you can really tailor this thing to whatever amp you're plugging it into. And that's really what set this apart for me, because so many distortion pedals, sometimes they'll work great on one style of amp, they won't work great on another. This one's too bright, and so it sounds harsh. It goes better with darker, or vice versa. And this allows you to, whatever amp you have, it'll sound great going into it, and you can further tailor and dial it in to exactly what you want. I don't think I've seen any other distortion pedal or overdrive have this set of options that really make it work this well, and so you can dial it into whatever you need. So now that we've gone over this little guy's extensive features, I want to hear this inside and outside of a mix. We're going to hear this on the preamp setting, going into my KSR PA50, going into a 2-Notes Captor X with a IR blend of my DV77 and VM1265 speakers. Then we'll hear it outside of a mix on those same settings. And then we'll hear it outside of a mix going into the clean channel of my BE50 Deluxe. And what'll be great about that is you can hear what I was talking about really well with the two different EQs on there and how one will work better for a different kind of amp. Let's check it out. So I definitely see why these pedals are getting more and more of a following and a lot of buzz about them. Like I said, this is just a super well thought out pedal. Whether you're doing overdrive, distortion, high gain, low gain, this will get you there for sure. It just has basically everything you would need to get good tones out of whatever amplifier and rig you're using. And like I said, you could even use this as your own little pocket amp. And beyond just the features, they made this thing feel really good to play. Like they wanted to make it really, amp like tube amp like to play and have that kind of response. And it definitely feels that way. It doesn't feel transistory. It doesn't feel like I'm playing into just another distortion pedal. It feels like there's like a little bit of that tube sag, if you will. Like there's a little bit of push and pull. And I think that's also really impressive. And on top of that, this thing just sounds great. It feels good to play. It sounds good. It has a bunch of good ideas to get good tones out of whatever rigs. I think that checks pretty much all the boxes for what you'd want out of an overdrive or a distortion type pedal. So I'm going to have a link down below if you want to check out this or anything else that they have. I'm definitely curious about some of the other pedals they have because they have a lot of really cool looking stuff. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay metal.